Mark Charles in a sin beked na the slint to toy glini bash chain. Sin beked na bash che. Do to cheat ni bash nulla. If you're fluent in your Navajo, you're probably asking what's sin beked na. Well, my mother's American of Dutch heritage, so rather than just saying Bilagana, I say wooden shoe people. So that's my clan. And then the water that flows together and the Bitterwater clan are my two Navajo clans. I live with my family out in Fort Defiance. And I wanted to talk a little bit today and just share with you something that I think the Creator is doing something very powerful around the globe for Indigenous people. In the past several years, I've traveled to New Zealand. I've traveled and I've been with the Sami people up in Sweden. I traveled to Siberia and been with the native people up there. And I see that there's this itching in Indigenous peoples to want to be a part of the conversation and to take our rightful place in the lands in which we live. I just returned about a week and a half ago from Washington, D.C. On December 19 of 2012, just about a few weeks ago, I hosted a public reading of the 2010 Department of Defense Appropriations Bill in front of the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. I did this because that bill contained an apology to Native peoples. This apology, this bill was passed on December 19 of 2009. It was never read, it was never announced, it was never publicized. I felt this was very disrespectful of our government to do, to apologize to its Native peoples without even speaking to them. So I reserved, without speaking to us, so I reserved that space so we could host a public reading of that bill. And we were there all day. We read some of the appropriations bill and we read some of the apology. We had it translated into two languages, into Ojibwe and into Navajo. After we did this reading, I came forward and I encouraged our Native peoples to respectfully not accept this apology. I felt like if we were to accept this apology that was not spoken clearly to us and had a disclaimer in it, that we would be devaluing ourselves and devaluing our communities. And so I asked our Native peoples to respectfully not accept this apology. As Indigenous peoples, I felt we deserve better and our country could do better. My hope and my prayer every day is that God will bring healing to our land, healing to our people, and that He will give us a strong voice within this country and over the lands that we live on. And so I'm very glad to see everybody who showed up today to talk about this. I think our brothers and sisters up in Canada are doing something very brave. They have said we need to have a conversation with our leaders. It is not right that we are not allowed to communicate directly, nation to nation, with these people who moved into our lands. And they took some very extreme actions, and I just read yesterday that they are going to be allowed to have this conversation next week with the Prime Minister of Canada. That is a very good thing, and I hope that is not just a one-time event, but I hope that is the beginning of a very long conversation between the First Nations people of Canada and between the government of Canada. And I think the same thing needs to happen here in this country. I don't think our government was choosing the right place to apologize to us the way they did. I often use a different analogy that I share with people when they ask, what does it feel like to be Native and live in this country? And here's what I tell them. I say, being Native and living in the United States, it feels like our communities are this old grandmother who has a very large and a very beautiful house. And years ago, some people came into our house and they locked us upstairs in the bedroom. Today, our house is full of people. They're sitting on our furniture, they're eating our food, they're having a party inside our house. They've even since come upstairs and unlocked the door to the bedroom, but it's much later. We're tired, we're old, we're weak, and we're sick, and so we can't or we don't come out. But the thing that hurts us the most is that virtually nobody from this party comes up to the bedroom, seeks out the grandmother, sits down next to her on the bed, takes her hand, and simply says, "Thank you. Thank you for letting us be in your land."
Yeah.
The Creator allowed us to be the host people of this land. And I think for us to continue this conversation, we need to recognize that that is our role here. And that we need to begin acting like the host people of this land and teaching these non-natives who have come in and moved in and taken over, teaching them how to live right with each other and with the land. We have a very important role here. And I think it's up to all of us, every single one of us as Native peoples, to stand up and recognize that we have a very strong and important role in this country. And we need to take that voice and use that voice. So I ask each and every one of you,
Jesus.
I ask each and every one of you to have a strength and a belief that you have a voice, you have a role, you have a place in this country. Thank you very much, all my family.
Thank you.
I actually started a petition online on the White House website, requesting that President Obama retract the apology that was given to Native peoples because it was inadequate and disrespectful. If that petition receives 25,000 signatures, then the White House will respond to that request, and they will make a statement and respond to it. So if you agree with me, I invite you to go to my website, which is wirelesshogan.com.
Yeah.
Just look up wirelesshogan.com, and you'll see a link there where you can sign that petition, and then we can begin to get some answers from our government and from our leaders. Yeah.